David, one of the surprising things about the Future of the Finance Function survey this year is that it showed that only 6% of CFOs claim to know that they understand the technologies available to them, and only 37% understand what sort of solutions are available to them in the market. So why are CFOs apparently falling so far behind the technology curve?
I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is just that finance professionals are constantly spending their time in the weeds, kind of running the business, engaged with the day-to-day, and they don't have time to lift their heads and really see what's out there, what's new, what's coming down the line in terms of technology, until they really have to. And sometimes that's only brought about when their system really is on the edge of collapse, or it actually collapses, or there's a change in management and they're forced to kind of review what's going on. I think the other thing maybe is the technology industry's fault, in that we're constantly producing new buzzwords, new technologies, lots of stuff coming in from all different areas, which can be quite confusing. And maybe they spend a lot of the time burying their heads in the sand and trying to ignore all the change that's happening out there.
So one of the related findings is that CFOs are increasingly turning to software houses for advice on finance transformation. In fact, the gap between software houses and consultancies is closing, so they're placing more dependency on software houses. So do you think the process of choosing systems is actually changing? And why are CFOs looking to software vendors to play a more active role?
I think the process of selecting systems is definitely changing. When I think back 5-10 years, there used to be a process of feature function kind of tick lists and 80 or 100 page requests for information, which focused on every single feature that a system might do, as if that was some guarantee that it would be a successful implementation in the end. And I think CFOs have realised that actually that isn't the case. They realise that if a system is out there and is being used by multiple customers and has some heritage, clearly it does the basics. Although obviously they need to ensure that it really does do what they want. But what's more important is that is more the approach of the software house and the system itself to running their sort of business. And I think having gone through probably some bad experiences of implementations that have failed or have gone over time and over budget and not delivered the outcomes that were expected, they are putting the onus back on the software vendor to actually say, well, you guys have implemented this system many times. You know what success looks like. You also hopefully have worked with companies like us. So tell us what we should be doing, tell us how we make this successful, and tell us how we get the outcomes from the project that we expect. And that means that the onus is then on the software vendor to actually deliver not just the software, but actually the outcomes that the customers are looking for.
So something I've noticed is that over the last few years, there's been far more transparency by software houses. So for example, you put case studies, software demonstrations, free trials, a whole plethora of better information on the website. Do you think that's changing the balance and is one of the reasons why companies and CFOs are prepared, they're better prepared when they go to look for a system and more prepared to talk to software houses about some of the issues they're facing?
Yes, I mean, what we find today is that when we're approached by a potential customer, they've done a lot of research already. Where in the old days they might go around 10 or 20 vendors and ask them kind of basic questions about the system. They've often done the research because it's out there. The great thing about the web is that they can see the system, they can find out what's going on. They can even potentially approach customers who they know are using the software. So we often find they're very informed. They really know what they want, they know what they don't want, and then the discussion is, right, really show me how you're going to help us succeed, help us achieve the outcomes we want. So it leads to a much more detailed, much more informative discussion, and I think a better engagement on both sides.